Hi, Monday, the 30th of September, and we're here to look at the daily astrology. Well, actually, the big news in astrology this week is, of course, the eclipse on the 2nd. So let's go straight to the share on that, I think, because there is quite a bit to comment on. There we go. So, yeah, brilliant. There we go. So it happens on Wednesday, and the eclipse, let's just start with the basics. So the path of the sun on this occasion will be almost entirely across the South Pacific. And so just the very tip of South America, Easter Island, most incredibly, and north of the Faroe Islands, Falkland Islands, sorry. So not a lot of people under this one, mainly across ocean. Um, I explained about Easter Island in a previous video, but I will just say briefly that's the second solar eclipse to be seen on Easter Island in 10 years. And that island is only 11 miles by 8 miles by 3 miles or something like that. I mean, that's phenomenal. Just how that piece of the Pacific, a tiny little scratch, manages to get two full solar eclipses in 10 years. It's staggering. Anyway, there must be something going on there. However, what we're here to look at and what I'm here to talk about is the effect. I mean, everybody wants to know that. An eclipse, woohoo! What does that mean for me? Is what everybody always says. What does it mean for me? Um, and I suppose what I should say is that the only people who have got to think about what it means for them are really the people with a chart point or a natal planet directly underneath that 10 degrees of Libra. It's at 10 degrees of Libra. To be honest, you really have to have quite exactness for eclipses because they're quite brief affairs. It's just like a light going out and then coming back on again. If you have a birthday on the 2nd of October, yes, there will be an eclipse moment for you. If you have another planet under there, the meaning of that planet is eclipsed on that day, usually when the eclipse is happening, but it can hold back and appear at another time if you were asleep, for instance. So now let's just look at a wider meaning. So if you are a Libran sun sign in general, so your sun is somewhere in Libra, or in Aries, the opposite sign, or Capricorn, the sign that squares Libra, on the other side, Cancer, the sign that squares Libra. So all of those cardinal signs. Yes, there can be an effect, but don't expect one for sure. It's not that certain. It's a little bit, you might not. And it's coming from Libra, so I'm tempted to say that it's something to do with relationship, the world of two, because that's what Libra's all about. I think we could look at things that Libra represents. So you could look at fairness, equality, the world of two, business partners, that kind of thing. So I think we could kind of look at that. Yes, romance, but friendships sometimes come under a Libra thing. Anyway, so okay, so that kind of explains who's going to be affected. And then we want to know, okay, I'll just stop the share on this. Sorry, before I stop the share, let me just go down to it here. So here it is. So this is from the UK. So because this is the horizon and everything in the sky this is above your head, everything that's in the sky, and this is what's happening on the other side of the planet. It's going, into the planet and out again, the planet Earth, that is. So it's the other side of planet Earth. So we are in darkness. The UK is in darkness because the sun is not in the sky, it's on the other side of the planet. So that is why we can't see the sun being eclipsed, and so therefore the eclipse is not going over our heads. Get it? Okay, so what's happening is the moon is going to travel between the sun and the earth, because the moon is, say the earth's here, so because the moon is closer to the earth, the moon is just going to get in between the sunlight falling on the earth. That's simple. Okay, so and I just want to mention that Mercury is there as well. That is quite close, so that is worth mentioning also. Right, I'm going to stop the share now so that I can talk to you about it. Okay, so let's think about this. The sun's light is going out briefly for a portion of the planet. Okay, now it doesn't matter that not so many people are under the sun's path. In actual fact, the effect on the ionosphere, or one of the or the layers of our atmosphere, is quite profound. And people don't have to be able to see the eclipse for this stunning effect to take place. One of the biggest effects is something of a yin-yang thing that goes on between cosmic rays, so that's the rays coming in from interstellar space, coming in to our solar system, and the solar radiation, which provides a bubble around the solar system, so all the planets and the sun, and keeps them safe in this like bubble thing. If the sun's light hitting the ionosphere is reduced, then cosmic rays can get in because they knock each other out. So immediately more cosmic rays are hitting the ionosphere, and this solar energy is reduced considerably. Okay, so that has a remarkable effect which filters down through the layers of the atmosphere and eventually finishes up on the Earth's surface as changes, minute changes if you like, but nevertheless changes in the electromagnetic environment, and in lots of other environments as well. So neutrinos, for instance, quantum particles, etc., photons, so light molecules, things like that. Everything is sort of affected. There has been some work done on how eclipses affect eruptions of volcanoes, movement of the cosmic of the earth plates, not cosmic plates, the earth plates, earthquake type stuff. And I think there's more work to be done on it, but there's been some interesting results. And it's all to do with the fact that it creates such a huge upheaval in the invisible energy around our planet. So that said, it stands to reason, therefore, that there is going to be an effect on us, the humans, because every single cell in our body has a tiny electrical charge. We live in an electrical universe. So there is an effect on our nervous system. And yes, it does feel a little uneasy. It does. I definitely feel uneasy, like I'm looking over the edge of a cliff, that kind of uneasiness. I'm not saying that people fall off cliffs because of an eclipse, but it feels like that. Okay. If you're a Leo, then you're going to be particularly affected because this is your ruling planet. And I know a Leo who actually faints during eclipses, genuinely. It can be that sort of catastrophic for Leos, like the sun's light's just gone out, plunk. So there we go. Prepare for this. If you're a big Leo, then maybe you'd like to have a day in bed just in case anything happens. Anyway, and now I'm going to talk to you about Mercury and all of this. Now, you are going to hear me say something really rare here. You will never hear me say this under any other circumstances. All this hullabaloo about Mercury going retrograde, and oh my goodness, you shouldn't sign a contract during this time. You shouldn't make a short journey. Everything will break down in Mercury retrograde. No, no, and no. No, 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 no. You just get the normal amount of breakdowns, the normal amount of issues to do with contracts. It's all rubbish. In actual fact, Mercury going retrograde gives us another opportunity to go over something. We pay more attention to it. We're more likely to get it right. But when it comes to Mercury being involved or in the same part of the sky as the sun and moon, when the sun is being eclipsed, that is the one time I'm going to say to you, I would put off signing a contract. I would. And the reason I'm saying this is because the sun is our yang, our masculine energy. It lights up the world, doesn't it? Let's face it. The sun comes up, the world is lit. I think that the dark, which happens in an eclipse, is symptomatic or coincidental with issues which can be unseen or in the dark. And so, because it's not a huge amount of time that you have to not sign on the dotted line, I think I would hold back for a few hours and just say something like, oh, my pen won't work. I'll nip out and buy one and come back a few hours later. It's also a time when I would expect, for instance, to get news blackouts. Certainly information technology issues online on the internet with the web, that kind of thing. It is possible, I suppose, to get car breakdowns, traffic kind of breakdowns, that kind of thing. It is possible. We're looking at Libra. It's an air sign. It is positive. Mercury is an air sign. There is a resonance. Mercury is an air planet. There is a resonance in the fact that they are both air elements. Right. Libra is an air sign. Mercury is an air planet. There is resonance between the two in the fact that they are air element. And so therefore we kind of got to look at it's like sounding a bell, if I go ding on a bell, that note is resonant with air in general. So with the air planets, with air zodiac signs, it sounds a harmonious note that goes with the others in the same group. So it does have a particular sort of relationship. Okay, now there was one other thing. I'm just going to go back to the share because I think there was another planet involved here. Yeah, it was Ceres here, Ceres, dwarf planet in the asteroid belt, strangely, the only one. 11 degrees of Capricorn, because that's a square. Yes, I'm going to consider that one. Ceres is a manifestation of the feminine. This energy represents the part of the feminine which is to do with parents and children, parent-child separation, and also the growing of seed, human seed, vegetable seed. It's the part of the feminine that sees through the growth from a baby through to a toddler, through to a teenager, through to a young mother, through to a middle-aged woman, through to an old crone. And it's also the part of the nurturing, as in mother love, a mother's love. So if we get a square to that from the sun and moon together, And bearing in mind, Ceres is in Capricorn, which is not a great sign for Ceres. Ceres likes to be in Cancer because that's all about mother, mothered, and mothering. So it's in a harsh disciplinary area, not comfortable for Ceres. And then we get this interruption coming in at an antagonistic angle from the Sun and Moon and Mercury to Ceres. And so this is the feminine getting a sharp pebble in the shoe, a thorn in the side, from a fairly masculine energy, because we're looking at Libra and we're looking at the Sun and we're looking at Mercury. All right, the Moon is feminine, but they're going to overwhelm the Moon. And so I think there is something there of it's not comfortable for families and mothers and unconditional love. There's something about it that's a bit spiky or jagged. The other thing to say is, because it is the Sun which is getting eclipsed, the masculine light, the yang light, is being extinguished for a short time. Solar eclipses only last a few minutes. And it's that interruption to the masculine light which suddenly dumps the energy around the earth into a dark, disquieting place. Suddenly we're put into the shadow, into that which is not lit, into the dark. And that's disconcerting. And although we can't see it, there is something of a shudder that goes on in terms of all the upheavals with the layers of atmosphere around the earth. So the feminine, it never feels comfortable. It's not what people think. It's not all cutesy and cheruby and pink and Barbie doll. The feminine actually can carry things that feel fearful, that feel uncomfortable, because it's such a primordial energy and it moves in curves. The serpent, the snake, is very it's very gives a good impression, very symbolic of the feminine. It's not cutesy. It is quite okay. You do kind of like, ooh, it feels a bit scary. It's like walking through a forest on a pitch black night. Can you imagine every single crack, every single movement? It's a bit like that. Masculine feels much more full of joy, much more full of hope, much more full of confidence. The feminine holds back, it's reticent, it's not so. So because the feminine ultimately is ruling instead of the masculine. So when that moon goes in front of the sun and is the only thing that the earth is receiving, lunar energy, not solar energy, for a very brief time, then that is a big interruption. I mean, what else stops the sun's light once it's risen? No, it is a big interruption. So try to think of those things, and that's what the eclipse will mean to you. It goes on in the emotional levels. It affects the autoimmune system and the nervous system of the body. So, right now, I think that was everything actually. So I'm going to say goodbye. Don't forget, I have a new book out called The Easy Way to Learn Astrology, which you can find online. Amazon's got it. And also don't forget, I've got a website, AlisonChester-Lambert.com, and I do readings. They're talked about on my website. Okay, thank you for listening to that. Lovely to talk to you, and I'll speak to you tomorrow, I hope. Bye.